यो आकाशवाणी गान्तोक हो। अब सुन्नुहोस् G20 दिल्ली घोषणा अन्तर्गत समावेशी अनि दिगो विकासमाथि अंग्रेजीमा वार्ता।
The G20, whose main theme is One Earth, One Family, One Future. This is a great opportunity for India that this time we have got the presidency and we have celebrated this program across the country, and main program recently happened in Delhi, Bharat Mandapam. This program is going to achieve so many milestones in coming futures, and it will create a long-term understanding relation between the different countries within G20, and it will have indirect impact on outside the G20 world also. Although we know that G20 is a major bloc which constitutes 19 countries and one European Union, and which is having major population, major growth and major economy of the world. The issue we are going to achieve the first sustainable and inclusive growth. Although we know that we have the challenges to long-term growth and we are facing uneven recovery and conscient of the need to boost the long-term growth. The global economic growth is below the long-run average and remains uneven. To fulfill this gap, we have to have partnership with private sectors to create inclusive, sustainable and resilient global value chain and support developing countries to move up to the value chain. Facilitate investment including foreign direct investment towards sustainable business models. Diverse pipelines of investable projects in developing countries by leveraging expertise of MDBs and mobilize investment, promote the ease of and reduce the cost of doing the business. For that, we have to encourage MSME and startups, and these are the natural engines of growth. We have to unlock the trade for growth. For that, the rule-based, non-discriminatory, fair, open, inclusive, equitable, sustainable and transparent multilateral trade system is required. And WTO with its core, we have to renew our commitment to ensure the level playing field and fair competition by discouraging protectionism and market distorting policies to foster favorized trade and investment environment for all. We have to recognize the challenges of MSME. We have to welcome the adoption of G20 genetic framework for mapping the global value chains to help the members identify the risk and build resilience. The high-level principle of digitalization of the trade documents and make efforts to encourage implementation and encourage other countries to consider these principles. We have to ensure trade and environment policies should be mutually supportive and consistent with WTO and multilateral trading environment. Preparing for the future work. For that, we need to recognize the well integrated and adequately skilled workers and benefit origin and distinction countries alike and commit to working towards ensuring the well managed regular and skill based migration pathways. And G20 policy prioritize to address the skill gaps globally, including through the further strengthening of international statistical data, expanding the coverage of ILO and OECD skills for job database to G20 countries. Then we have to consider the development of international references classification of occupation by skill and qualification requirements to facilitate the cross-country. And G20 also welcomed the comprehensive toolkit with elaborative framework for designing and introducing digital upskilling and reskilling programs. G20 also aimed to achieve sustainability finance, universal social protection coverage, and consider profitability and portability of social security benefits through bilateral and multilateral agreements. It also supports the implementation of UN Global Accelerator on Jobs and Social Protection for Just Transitions. G20 also will lead to advancing the financial inclusion. For that, G20 recommendations for advancing financial inclusion and productivity gains through digital public infrastructure. G20 endorses the Financial Inclusion Action Plan, which provides the action-oriented and towards looking roadmap for rapidly accelerating the financial inclusion of individuals and MSME, particularly vulnerable and unobserved groups in the G20 groups and beyond. G20 also committed to fighting corruption through strengthening the law enforcement related international cooperation and information sharing for combating corruption, strengthening asset recovery mechanisms for combating corruption, promoting integrity and effectiveness of public bodies, and also to support to the financial action task force and operationalization of global network. We have SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and G20 recommitting for achieving SDG goals through digital transformation, AI, data advances, and the need to address the digital devices. G20 affirms the commitment towards the mobilization of affordable, adequate, and accessible financing from all the sources to support developing countries. It also highlights the crucial role of tourism and culture as a means of sustainable socio-economic development. It also commits the cooperation and partnership to address the challenges being faced by the implementation of 2020 SDG agenda, and it has framed the analytical framework for SDG aligned finance and voluntary recommendation for scaling up adoption of social impact investment instruments and improving nature related data and reporting informed by stock taking analysis considering country circumstances. It also aims to eliminate hunger and malnutrition. It encourages the effort to strengthen research cooperation on climate resilience and nutritional gains such as millets, quinoa, sorghum, and other traditional crops including maize, wheat, rice. It also welcomed G20 members to have meeting of agricultural chief scientists. It also emphasized the increasing the access of ability efficient use of fertilizer inputs and strengthening the local fertilizer production and improving the soil health. It also accelerating innovation and investment focus on increasing agriculture productivity, reducing food loss. G20 also commits the strengthening the agriculture market system and Earth observation, global agriculture monitoring for greater transparency to avoid food price volatility, supporting EMI's work on fertilizers. It also facilitated to have the rule-based trade on agriculture, food and fertilizer trade on the line of WTO rules. On health front, it is trying to strengthening the global health structure with the World Health Organization at its core and building more resilient, equitable and sustainable and inclusive health system. G20 will promote One Health based approach driven by quadripartite One Health Joint Plan Action to 2022-26. G20 will enhance the resilience of health system and support development of climate resilient and low carbon health system. It will facilitate equitable access to safe, effective, quality assured and affordable vaccine, therapeutics, diagnostics and other medical countermeasures, especially in low and middle income countries. It will support a WHO-led inclusive consultative process for development of an interim medical countermeasures collaboration mechanism with reduction of participation of LMIs and other developing countries, considering network approach covering local and regional resources, manufacturing capacities, and strengthening last mile delivery. G20 will promote and improve the access to mental health services, psychological supports. It will also help to enhance the public health dimensions. Then G20 will also help in finance health collaboration, strengthening the global health architecture for pandemic prevention, preparedness and response (PPR) through enhanced collaboration between finance health. It will also help in delivering quality education through importance of fundamental learning, literacy, numeracy and socio-emotional skills as the primary building block of education and employment. It will reiterate our commitment to harness digital technology to overcome the digital divide for all learners. It will support to educational institutes and teachers to enable them to keep pace with emerging trends and technological advances. It will emphasize expanding access to high quality technical and vocational education. It will reaffirm our commitment to promote open, equitable and secure scientific collaboration and encourage mobility of scientific students, scholars, scientists, researchers and others. And it will help in protection of culture and its intrinsic value as a transformational driver and enable for achievement of the SDG and advance the inclusion of culture as a standard goal in future discussion on possible post 2023 development agenda. G20 is also going to help in Green Development Pact for Sustainable Future. It will recognize the prosperity and well-being of present and future generation depends upon our current development and other policy choice and actions.
अहिले सुन्नुभयो G20 दिल्ली घोषणा अन्तर्गत समावेशी अनि दिगो विकासमाथि वार्ताकार हुनुहुन्थ्यो प्रोफेसर मनिष चौबे। यो आकाशवाणी गान्तोक हो।